Okay, good morning, everybody. How are you today? So I'm really excited to see all of you again in our fourth webinar, series of webinar held by PBI UKDW Jakarta in collaboration with MGMP Bahasa Inggris Daerah Istimewa Yogyakarta. And my name is Mera. I'm happy to be your moderator today in our session entitled Supporting Students and Teachers Well-Being in Online Instruction. And also welcome to all of you, the participants in Zoom, as well as the YouTube channel. And I hope you're enjoying our sessions today in this lovely Saturday. And especially the participants in Zoom, if you have problem in rejoining into the room, you may go to our YouTube channel to go streaming. And today, I'm feeling so happy that the participants from all over Indonesia are with us today in this room. So I would like to say hi to the participants from all over Java, Sumatra, Borneo, Sulawesi, and Maluku. Thank you for your active participation. Before we start our session today, allow me to remind you about some rules to pay attention to while joining the webinar today. Yes, okay. Right. So I'm reminding you that in your Zoom you might change the name that you have. So you're going to use your real name, and also you're going to be muted. So please change the mode of um, the Zoom, right? And your camera as well as the audio, please be muted. And if you would like to ask questions, so later on you're going to write down your tanya, right? And then underscore your name and then the institutions as well as uh, the address, whom would you like to ask to? And also at the end, you're going to write down the questions. And something important to be noted, this is about the certificate. And the certificate will be given for those participants who join the webinar until the end. And later on, at the end of the session, we're going to share the address as well as the QR code. You can scan it later on, and you're going to fill in the evaluation form, and you can have the certificate right away. And you're going to have the chance to fill the uh, evaluation form no later than 1 p.m. today. Right. And then after these 3 weeks in a row, we've been talking about challenges in designing materials with simple technology and also designing assessment as well as engaging students in project-based activities. Now, in this lovely morning, we have three speakers talking about the well-being in classrooms during the remote learning. And I would like to introduce our three speakers today. So the first one is Ibu Aris Widarianti, SPDM Boom, and she's a teacher in SMA Negeri 1 Kalasan Sleman. She's got her master's degree from graduate program in English Language Studies, Sanata Dharma University in 2013. And from 2014 up to 2015, she was appointed as one of the national instructors of Curriculum 2013. In 2019, she was chosen as one of the core teachers of Teacher Professional Development Program in Yogyakarta. She is currently the chairperson of JETA and also the chairperson of Senior High School English Teacher Association in Sleman. And currently, she is also the coordinator of MGMP Daerah Istimewa Yogyakarta, Mata Pelajaran Bahasa Inggris. And our second speaker is Bapak Paulus Widiatmoko, MA. He is graduated from Universitas Santa Dharma Yogyakarta and De La Salle University, Manila in the Philippines. And currently he is pursuing the doctoral degree of language education at Universitas Negeri Yogyakarta. He is greatly interested in second language acquisition, technology, enhanced language learning, and learning multimodality. And our last speaker today is Ibu Dr. Anda Megawati NPD. Ibu Mega has been teaching English for more than 2 decades in Duta Wacana Kristen University, where she initiated a university-scale English language matriculation program to enhance students' proficiency before taking English for specific purposes. And with the combination of English education undergraduate degree from Sanata Dharma University, master degree in educational management from Yogyakarta State University, online teacher course in Oregon University, USA, as well as her interest, among others, in teaching methodology, teaching reading, educational quality assurance, and character education. She is also involved in facilitating peer coaching, teacher training, and school management. At present, she teaches in the English language education department, preparing future teachers to build a better world. Right. Before we start the talks, let us take a moment of silence to express our gratitude to God for our health today and hope for inspirations that may spark during the session today. Let us have a moment of silence. All right. Without keeping you any longer, right? I'm inviting the first speaker today, and Ibu Aris is ready to share interesting things for our webinar today. So, Ibu Aris, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Bu Mera. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining today's webinar. So, first of all, I like to say thank you to PBU KDW to give chance for me to share. Okay, we to keep it fast. Now, please, everybody, because my title is about self-reflection of humanistic remote teaching. First of all, I'd like to ask your opinion about how do you feel about remote teaching. You as teacher, do you feel okay with this? But later we will ask about your opinion. But now I want to know whether you understand what is the student feeling or not. Usually we just give the assignment using online teaching, or you can use certain application or platform, but sometimes we do not care how is the feeling of the students. Now let's see this now. Please go to www.menti.com and use the code of 467777 and then ask your opinion about this. How do your students probably feel with your remote teaching? Are they enthusiastic? Are they happy, curious, or bored, or confused? Okay, you're still waiting. Can you guess? Or happy? Bored? Oh, yeah. So sometimes you feel confidence that, oh, I use my teaching, this kind of way of teaching, but I'm sure that my students are happy, yeah, because I choose the best one. Sometimes you feel confidence. but we don't know that the students sometimes get bored because you use the same application for 3 or 4 times of teaching. Yeah, but sometimes confused because no explanation from the teacher. It is not face-to-face application, so that the students do not understand. The student cannot learn independently, so they will confuse. Yeah, but some of them are enthusiastic. You can see. So the list is enthusiastic. So, but see, confused as the most. So you can imagine how the students feeling when they join your class, when they join your class in remote teaching. So they feel confused, most of them. So we have to change our way of teaching. That is what I mean. Why we use reflective teaching? Yeah, to reflect whether our teaching is good or not. Now, see, you can see it is enthusiastic, only 10%. Happy, yes, happy, but perhaps happy but confused, something like this. So curious, that's good. Yeah, curious, because by curiosity, they will learn, yeah, everything. Now, so our conclusion is that most of them feel confused. Yeah, and the least one is enthusiastic. Okay. Can I see my PowerPoint? Uh, So that is why I choose the title Self-Reflection about Humanistic Remote Teaching, because I'd like to know whether my students understand my teaching or not, understand the material I deliver or not. So I need to reflect myself, yeah, whether they are still happy. Okay, perhaps they can do the test. They can understand the test because it is just multiple choice using the application. But sometimes we don't know whether they are uh, happy or not, whether they understand or not. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes, let's go back to the first time when we are asked to carry out remote teaching. So it is very hard, especially for me, as compare with the young ones, the native in technology. So it is very hard for me to prepare everything, to prepare teaching. So I call it workload in remote teaching. No, compared to young teacher, perhaps they are happy to dealing with the technology. But I have to trying hard, yeah, to prepare for the teaching content is okay for teaching content because we have been teaching for a long time. So perhaps it is not so difficult, but in technical preparation, so it needs more practice. So we have to learn a lot in a quick time because we have to teach, yeah, in a quick time because no preparation. At that time we don't know that the COVID-19 outbreaks really forced us to do this. And now, while lack of self-confidence with the technology, yeah, and make us get difficulty in handling the teaching. And so we just carrying out the teaching as much as we can. That is why sometimes we are busy to prepare this, so that we neglect to care for humanism aspects of students. That is why I use my reflective self-reflection because of this. Now, so we have to question, and the question for remote teaching from the students' view: are they happy with our teaching? Are they curious? Do they learn values? Not just the material we teach. Yeah, we just teach material. It's okay because there are many websites in the internet teach English, but you as teacher care them or not? Yeah, so that do they learn values or not? Are they motivated? Yeah, this is the question. from the student point of view that we have to consider. You see that humanistic approach focus on the development of the whole students with an emphasis on emotional aspect of the students, about creating a need within the student or cooperated with student in self-motivation. So I usually compare it in a real classroom when we face the students directly, so we can observe how is the students' attitude toward the teaching we have. But now, when we use the remote teaching, yeah, especially which is not using the face-to-face interaction, you just give assignment. So it is difficult to guess what is the student's feeling. Now, question for teachers. So I ask you, all of you, perhaps, are you happy with remote teaching? Some of you, yes, yeah. So are they curious of any new technology? I mean, are you curious? Are you everybody? Sorry, not they mean teachers, yeah. Are you curious with any new technology, or you are busy finding new technology while you don't care about the content and the objective of your own teaching? So, and are you burdened with learning technology, or perhaps oppositely, you enjoy learning technology while neglecting the content of the teaching? So, do you like to learn technology for remote teaching, etc.? Yeah, back to that is from the teacher point of view. So humanism is about rewarding yourself as a teacher, whether you feel secure, whether you feel happy, whether you feel enthusiastic in teaching while caring for the students. And why self-reflection? So self-reflection is remembering, thinking about and evaluating a teaching experience. So I do this the reflection because sometimes I have to admit uh, I'm very sinful perhaps because I do what I can do. Sometimes like this. Yeah. Why? To make this this self-reflection, to make decision about future plans and action so that I will teach better than before because I have thinking about the last and evaluating my teaching experience. So we can learn a lot about teaching from self-inquiry. So I ask myself, do I use the right application? Do I care them? Do I use a certain method, yeah, in remote learning, and so on. So, and on what happened during teaching is unknown to the teacher. That's why we have to discover ourselves what happened to our own teaching. So experience is not enough to grow as a teacher. So I have been teaching more than 3 decades, but still it's not enough because I have to learn more. Yeah. So I need to reflect whether my teaching is suitable from the latest trend on the students here, on the what is the students like to learn and so on. So reflection can give us deeper understanding of the teaching process. So this is some theory, yeah, and that the issue of students' well-being need to be tackled head-on, given that it not only affects the socio-emotional realm, but also detrimental effect on the students. So there is only a theory again about the teachers. Think of some sources of stress and business. Of course, our core business is teaching students. Long hours, large classes, low pay, pressure to perform in the classroom, high student expectation, professional demand outside the classroom, emotional connection with students, life bureaucracies, yeah, pressure to keep up with rapidly changing field, information overload, so many burden. Yeah. So managing those potential stress factor is an important key to keeping yourself fresh, creative, bright, and happy. That is why we need to reflect our teaching. So here, Alan offered down to a list of characteristics of good ASL teacher. You can see this, competent in preparation and so on. Yeah, love and so on. Yeah. So my point is that a feeling of excitement about one what is very important. That is why when you feel happy to teach, so the student will get easily to understand what you explain. So here is the 9 list of characteristics of good English as a second language, yeah, of teaching English. Now, how would you rate yourself in all 9? So, love of an English language, critical thinking, yeah, upgrade yourself, yeah, and so on. Now, so the process of reflection. Reflecting means remembering, yeah, remembering our previous teaching. That is why the question is that what do I do when I teach? Do I use a right methodology? Do I care them, the students, I mean? And what do I believe about the teaching? Sometimes when we have a belief, yeah, we are sure that we use the right one because this is the belief. Yeah, very sure with our belief. Oh, I choose this kind of a media to teach. Yeah, in a remote area, in a remote place where the students are not in the same room with us. But two, my belief is right. How if the students do not understand what I mean? So we make a teaching event by observing and collecting evidence. Yeah. So how to observe? Yeah. How to observe the evidence of self-reflection, we can use peer observation. Yeah. We can use video recording or keeping a journal. We make a journal. How can this? This is how to observe and collect evidence. Yeah, sorry for the PowerPoint. To collect evidence, peer observation, video recording, keeping a journal, like we make a note. For example, today I teach this kind of material, and then I use this kind of application. The student feel happy with this, for example, like this. So we have a journal, teacher's journal. When we write a note, what we are doing when we teach the students. And the next one, you can use student survey. Student survey. We ask them to fill the form with the survey after we have uh, carried out our teaching. And then the student can give comment. Yeah, when any comment. Or perhaps you can limit the comment. You can give choices so that the student can choose, or they are free to give comment. And the last one is student notebook or test. Yeah. Now, this is the example of student comment about the lesson I had. Yeah. So I have 224 students. Yeah. 8 classes. Yeah. So I teach them in the all the class. What is easy in the today's remote learning is that we can teach so many students in one time. Yeah. So as in a real what is face-to-face teachings, I teach them 8 classes, yeah, a group of students. So each consists of 32 students. Yeah. See, here is the comment of the students. I think it's fun, not make me bored. I enjoy to read the material and was that was given and to do the quiz. Thank you, ma'am. Like this. It is the comment. So I make them free to write any comment they write. So no question so far. This lesson makes me more aware of the solution of some problem via text. Yeah, the material I teach is argumentative text. It is hortatory text. Yeah. And the next, the text is very good and very helpful. I think people should learn about hortatory exposition text, so they're aware about the use of the text, because the text has a good purpose. It is to influence the reader that should be so and should not be, so the reader can differentiating. Yeah, so that is the student writing. Yeah, between sometimes they make a mistake in grammar, but it doesn't matter. The important thing is that they give command. Yeah, between the right and wrong. From this lesson, I know that hortatory exposition text is important to learn. So the students get the what is the purpose on the of the text. Very good, thanks, ma'am. Now I know that hortatory exposition text in English text that belongs to the class of argumentation, which have generic structure, thesis, argument, and recommendation. So you can say that the comment is vary, but all the positive one. Still, I'm not sure whether the right whether they are honest or not, or whether they are just because they are afraid that the teacher will angry when they do not write the good one for us. But still, we have to think. Yeah. So we need to reflect ourselves. Now, so when I use this, the result when I use the teaching using face-to-face, I use Zoom at the time. Yeah, so that, and then I need the students comment that I just limit to my question so that they just click yes, no, or not sure. So see, when I ask, I understand the teacher explanation. I just want to know whether they understand the explanation or not. Yeah. I use this kind of media because before this, I just give the assignment using Google Classroom, and they do some quizzes on they learn the material I give. But sometimes I need to explain because from my point of view, the material is very important, so that I think that I should explain. So that is for my view, but I don't know what the students. Perhaps the students do not need. Yeah. So when you see that I understand the teacher explanation, so from this we know that teacher still necessary to explain, and when we ask, we can learn it independently without teacher explanation. Oh, not sure, not sure. Yeah, still teacher is important in this process. So is it an easy learning material? Yes, easy, because you have question and answer. When you get when students get difficulty, they can ask directly. So, and the next, is it not necessary for the teacher to explain? No. Yeah, it's mean that they really need our teaching. They really need our explanation. And then when I need more material to improve in English, to improve my English, almost all say yes. Yeah, this is the result of my teaching. Uh, I use it for my reflection. so that I know what is the students want to do, how the student feel. Now, next, now how can we improve? Sorry, how can we improve humanistic remote learning? How can we improve humanistic remote learning? Keep a schedule. Keep a schedule. So we have to be disciplined to make the student disciplined. So we have the student from school. Now we keep the schedule, and now support independent learning, so that we have to motivate the students to learn by themselves. Yeah, motivate your students and give some break. I mean, so when you give the assignment to the students, remember, using gadget in a long time, perhaps it's not make the students feel comfortable compared to the real classroom. So give them some break. Yeah. And remember, don't be too idealistic to get the view. You have to finish on the syllabus, yeah, because so that is because it is difficult for them. So give some break and give quick feedback online. So when the students ask question, so you give quick evidence, give quick feedback, so that the students feel what is relief, secure, and feel that we are there. Yeah, and then use relevant technology, not just follow the latest technology, but it is not necessary for them. And some principle of online pedagogy. Presence mean our present. Yeah, the teacher present is necessary, very important for the students and the community. They have to feel that I'm not learning by myself. I have a friend. Yeah, so they will discuss the teaching with their friend. They have the friend, although they are at home by themselves, but their friend also learning like them. And then student engagement, of course, is very important. Feedback and accessibility. Oh, sorry. How come my profile like this? Oh, yeah. See, this the message is build a nurturing and supporting environment for students. So we have to care. We have to care students. Yeah, we have to support them to learn. Yeah, that's the last message, Bumera. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Wow. Thank you very much. This topic brightens our mind, right? In the middle of our problems, now we could understand that teachers also needs also to do some reflections. Are our students happy with our class? Can they learn some values from our materials? And are they motivated? That is the most important thing, right? And for our next topic, I guess this is also very interesting to join and to pay attention to. Uh, Pak Moko, after this, will bring the topic of non-techie styles of online instruction. Right, so without any further ado, let's welcome our next speaker, Pak Paulus Widiatmoko.
All right, thank you, Bumera. Well, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is healthy, happy, and ready for my session and the next session by Bumega. Okay, please allow me to share my screen. All right, can you see it, Bible? Okay, is it there? Yes. Right, so my topic is about non-techie stuff of online instruction. What I mean by non-techie is non-technical aspects of online instruction. And thank you, Bu Aris. You have launched a very good start on this topic by proposing the necessity of reflections, catering students' condition, motivation, and opinion, attitude for our learning. Let me start with this movie clip. This is a very short movie clip, and please recall your memory whether you have watched this movie or similar one probably. All right.
It was a groundbreaking ceremony for a new factory.
Seeing anyone who was sick? Anyone on a plane, the airport?
No, she said she was jet lagged.
The average person touches their face 3 to 5 times every waking minute. In between, we're touching doorknobs, water fountains, and each other.
Beth. Mom? No, go up to your room, honey.
So we have a virus with no treatment protocol and no vaccine at this time.
You had a seizure this morning, Beth.
She had a history of seizures,
No.
allergies.
As of last night, there were 32 cases.
Unfortunately, she did die.
Right. And he says, can I go talk to her?
Mr. Amoff,
Okay,
your
I'll
wife
fast
is
forward a
dead.
little.
Someone doesn't have to weaponize the bird flu. The birds are doing that.
Watch this. It's transmission, so we just need to know which direction.
On day one, there were 2 people, and then 4, and then 16. In 3 months, it's 1 billion. That's where we're headed.
They're calling out the National Guard. They're moving the president underground. People will panic.
Get away!
It will tip over.
The truth is being kept from the world.
Cook your samples, destroy everything.
Okay, so does anyone know the title of this movie? Bumera, do you know the title of this movie?
Yes, it's Contagion, Pak.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely. So and there have been more than 10 movies on pandemic actually. So what do you feel, Bapak Ibu, after you watch the movie? The good thing is this is just a movie. And the not very good news is that we are probably experiencing comparable situations. And right. So it's like deja vu, right? It's like deja vu, in which it is a feeling of having already experienced a present situation as you have watched the movie. And similarly, we have also seen the buzzword of digital disruption and industrial revolution 4.0. And then today, what is happening today is not just disruption, right? There is what's called by reverse engineering. We do the same thing differently, right? Radically different idea. For example, this one. You remember that no cell phone used in the classroom, right? There has been these rules. But today, what's happening today? Today, schools is inside the phone, right? And no wonder then it is true we are experiencing VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity these days. And we are having our instruction online, and this is why we conduct this 4 series of webinar for the purpose of this. And seeing these pictures of having online class, it seems that online class is something fun, something connect people, something that we probably have believed to be effective and to be something fun to do. But these days we experience probably a little bit different between the ideal situation and reality, right? Something like this. The ideal one looks very good, very nice, but in reality, well, you can see it, right? So this is the example. This is the example. This is taken from a forum of Facebook forum. If you are from Yogyakarta, then you probably know Info Cekatan Jogja, ICJ. This is from the forum. This is a sharing of experience from a teacher. Siapa bilang guru enak, right? Focus on the circle text, please, 4 seconds. Just read it quickly, very quickly. Jam 3 harus sudah menyiapkan materi pelajaran, jam 6 mengabsen muridnya. 1 belum datang, guru mencari. Right? Setelah menyampaikan materi, HP guru harus online terus. Laporan, murid yang malas harus dioyak-oyak. Harus dikejar-kejar, dioyak-oyak. Very Japanese term, right? Okay, this is just an example. Another one from Bu Vinita Dewi, right? This is the capture message, the capture posting that she had in Facebook. I wish I could do more, even low tech wouldn't work for their context. Bisa banget kalau di kota, Bu. Kalau di desa, Ibu cobain deh. Ngajar desa, sangat tidak bisa. Saya mengajar daerah pelosok. Jangankan beli HP untuk makan aja susah, right? This is also similar situation. Adikku mengajar di Kalimantan, Pegunungan Bintang, Papua. Mereka pakai internet dari langit. Lumayan menguras kocek. Pernah ada bantuan HP, tapi kemudian proyek itu terbengkalai. Alright, so this is a situation that we sometimes encounter or heard in real life. So we all know that the demand and challenges of online instruction is immense, from supporting facilities, emotion, motivation, commitment, so on and so forth, right? So therefore, in this talk, I will propose that online instruction is not just about technology, right? It's not just about technology. No matter what framework, no matter what models you are taking for your technology integration, for example, TPAC, technology integration matrix, SIMR, technology acceptance, or other frameworks, then non-technical aspects are very important. So our agenda today, we will divide the talk into 3 main points. The first one is preparation. The second one is pedagogic and content in relation with technology use. And the third one is emotional factors, right? Hang on, everyone. Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be bumpy, right? Okay, first of all, Bu Aris has started with this topic actually, assessing students' readiness for online teaching and assessing our own readiness. The questions: are we ready for online teaching? Are the students ready for online learning, right? And it happened within context. It happened within context, different context, different school, different city, different environment, different policy may have different factors and inhibiting or facilitating factors. Bu Aris has stated before that it could be from survey, it could be from interview, it could be from portfolio, and other instruments. Well, what is readiness actually? Teacher e-readiness. Teacher readiness is a concept that is proposed, as the name suggests, about preparedness of conducting online instruction. One resource stated that it comprised of attitude, the teacher's attitude toward online learning, the teacher's pedagogy and methodology, the teacher's technological competence, the teacher training, right? And the teacher time constraint, teacher time availability, other demands that the teacher has to do. All these things then make up the teacher e-readiness. I'm sure you experienced this, right? And Indonesian context, for example, compared to Singaporean context, for example, will be very much different. It's very contextual. Another concept of teacher readiness involves this one. So readiness in terms of course design, right? Course communication, time management, and technical, right? So this framework then try to underline the readiness in terms of steps of conducting online class, similar like conducting face-to-face instruction. What about student readiness? What about student readiness? How can we know that students are ready for online instruction? The first one is their perception, their perceived self-competence. Are they feeling that they are competent in conducting the class and also the media used by the teacher? Secondly, do they perceive the usefulness of the process of teaching and learning, of the tools used, the relevance between the tools and the objective of the course? The next one is related to self-directed learning, right? The autonomy of the learners. Motivation, of course. Financial, for sure, right? We know that many students are in a difficult situation these days. So, as has been elaborated before, we need to cater this one to many instruments, formally or informally. All right, The next one is related to acceptance. This is still on the stage of preparation. We also need to cater for their acceptance of the technology we use. Take for example, you'd like to have LMS, Learning Management System, for your class. If you have these choices, Schoology, Moodle, Kaizala, and Google Classroom, which one will you choose? Bumera, which one will you choose, Bumera?
I think
Thank you, Bumera. All right, so Bumera choose Moodle because it's easy. Everyone can use that, and it's very useful. Yes, these considerations are important, right? Not just a matter of technical things. What about if you would like to screencast your lesson? Let's say you have these choices: Camtasia, Active Presenter, Screencast-O-Matic, Zoom, Screencastify, and so many more. Which one will you choose? Right? Then you probably come up with different ideas and different situations to justify. Okay, I will choose Zoom, for example, because this and this, right? So the way we decide which one we choose is related to the acceptance, actually, and this is based on this major theory, theory of reason action in 1975, that our actual behavior or our intention to do the behavior is actually determined by our belief and evaluation, right? Our beliefs and evaluation, which can make up our attitude toward the behavior, right? And the normative belief and motivation to comply, right? What commonly considered as something good, for example, and then it will lead to the subjective norm of the behavior, right? This is not just a matter of the technology itself, but then it's related with beliefs, attitude, normative beliefs, and norms. And this theory, the theory that we have, theory of reason action, then became the foundation of technology acceptance model. This is actually a theory in information system, in which in information system software should be assessed in terms of the user acceptance. So before the actual system use, the actual program use, the actual software use or app use of these things, for example, then it's determined by the user perceive or usefulness, whether the program apps is useful or not. Perceive ease of use. Is it easy to use? And then these two things make up the attitude toward using, and then leads to the behavior intention to use it, right? The framework is then developed into extended technology acceptance model by Van Cantes and Davis, in which then elements of subjective norms are added here, accept these things, right? Perceive use of use, intention to use, but then some elements are added here. All right, all those things then relate with cognition, Bapak Ibu. Cognition, teacher's cognition. Simon Borg is the expert on this, and cognition is said to be what teachers know, believe, and think that will determine or that will lead to what the teachers do in the class. So everything that we do in the class actually could be traced back from what we believe, what we know, and what we think. And actually, this is the psychological aspect of behavior, right? And the complexity of cognition could be described this way, right? The teacher cognition is made up of contextual factors, right? Contextual factors, right? These ones, and classroom practice, including practice teaching, right? From schooling experience, from our professional coursework. Yet all these things make up the beliefs, knowledge, theories, assumption, metaphors, concepts about teaching teachers, students, including the use of technology, right? All right, let's move on. So moving on to the next one, how technology and content and also pedagogy should be combined. I will not discuss the technology. I will focus on the content and pedagogy, right? We know this framework, TPEC, right? Technology, pedagogical, content, knowledge. We teach English as the content. We know the pedagogy to teach English, right? And the combination of those things with technology is TPEC. For example, we would like to have listening comprehension. This is the content, right? For example, noticing talk structure, and then in the session, would like to focus on metacognitive awareness to monitor comprehension, right? This is pedagogy of teaching listening. And then based on this consideration, then we can choose the technology to use, right? So mind map to brainstorm, graphic organizer to visualize student comprehension, and we can use Canva for that, right? So the next aspect of content and pedagogy is multimodality. Well, I'm sure you are familiar with this. Multimedia, multimodality. Kress stated that it's representation of many modes of communication, right? Fortanet Gomez et al. Say that it's an approach used to understand contribution of various semiotic resources. Semiotic is meaning making, right? So teaching actually could be understood as meaning making by teachers, meaning making by students, like in this picture. The teacher is meaning making through the material, through the visual, through his presence, through his voice, right? To the jokes, to the metaphor, for example. The students try to make meaning of the material from the lecture and so on. And the multimodal communication works, how multimodal communication actually works in various modes, not just what the teacher says, but also the media, including the genre of the talk, the thematic patterns the teacher use, and the multimodal instance, and then coming to interpretation. So the final objective is student understanding or comprehension, like this one, for example. So visual, aural, spatial are combined for the student to make meaning. That's the essence. That's the essence. And right, why then online pedagogy appears to be challenging compared to face-to-face instruction? So face-to-face instruction actually is multimodal communication. The teacher's presence, the teacher existence in the class is multimodal actually. The way teacher explain, the voice, the teacher can represent many image and many things by the presence. But in online or distance instruction is very limited mode of communication. Probably visual and auditory, but we find it a little bit difficult to represent our presence, right, in the session. Okay, I will skip this. This is probably something that we have just discussed, more or less, active processing theory. Yes, this one. So if multimedia learning talks about words and pictures combined together, I will propose that this is not enough. We need more. We need the teacher's presence. We need closeness, building closeness with the students, right? Through many ways, right? We need to build positive and supporting atmosphere in the online learning, and we need to engage them emotionally. So it's not just a matter of the media, it's not just a matter of the audio, it's not just a matter of the presentation of the material. We need to cater for these things. And well, this is how face-to-face instruction and remote instruction are compared. The competence is quite similar or should be equal. Should be equal, but then the process, the material evaluation is different, right? And talking about pedagogy, Bloom taxonomy is still relevant. I'm sure you know about this one, right? Focus not only the lots, but also the hots through the technology we choose. Okay, next one related to pedagogy. I will propose, and we can start thinking of having post method paradigm. So far, we have been in a situation in which we believe that okay, we teach based on certain approach with certain method with techniques, and they are in certain categories, right? Post method will be a little bit different in which that this is the criticism of method. Method is articulated in the interest of unequal power relationship by expert, right? And method construct is said to be failed to account for historical condition, and it is also inconsistent. There has been no best method, right? And there is a question whether a method reflect what actually going on in the classroom. The method says A, but then in reality, what happens is C, D, E, F, right? Okay, and the search for best method would be pointless. All right. So this one is the highlight, I suppose. Teacher, they can be the expert of the method. Agents of method designers in LT could be teachers and practitioners because they know what happened in real situation. They know the challenges, right? And there are three things for teachers to come up with method. The first one is particularity. The second one is possibility. The third one is practicality. Practicality of relationship between theory and practice. Particularly basically talks about a particular group of learners, particular context we are addressing, particular challenges happening in our class, right? Possibility talks about power relationship, power and relationship between teacher and students, and possibility of conducting the lesson, for instance. Relates with identity and subjectivity of the between the teacher and student. We need to remember that actually this is not just eclecticism, being eclectic combining methods, but then we could say, or Kumara Fadipelu say, this is a principle of pragmatism. So whenever we combine methods, then make sure that the methods serve these three things. Right? These are some suggestions to be post-method teachers, right? We can skip this one. And in practice, then being post-method teachers, we can combine and we can explore the best recipe for our context, our challenges, our situation. For instance, we would like to have audio and visual text at the same time. We have this text, we will combine it with audio, for example.
Penguin Readers Level 2. Mr. Bean in Town.
Okay, and we would like to deliver the audio through smartphone, right? We send the file to our students through smartphone, and then we would like to do these things in our class.
Penguin Readers Level 2.
Yeah, sorry. Extensive listening plus reading, and then we would like to have jigsaw activity. Some students will have the listening, some students will have the reading, and then they collaborate for a project. Is it possible? Yes, this is possible. You can explore this if it is relevant with your situation, relevant with your needs and the students' needs. Right. This is a story of teachers and also community in Sumbawa who try to come up with solution, right? Not using Zoom and also Google Meet, but then due to shortages, they use amateur radio. We usually call it brick, HT, brick, dan sebagainya, right? It's very cheap, and I'm sure in this picture you can see that the teacher is trying to deliver a lesson, and the students trying to follow the lessons, and I think multimodality could be maintained here, right? By means of the visual from the books and the audio and auditory from the teachers. And you can also have this kind of material, for example, It could be combined with online platform. It could also be on its own, right? Stories like this. Legenda, you know that it has Bahasa Indonesia with English translation. Right, this is an example of school which combine actually gardening in the subject. I'm sure they have very strong reason for this, to combine gardening into their lesson, right? Because it is relevant with their situation, their need, the students' family condition and the society condition in that area. These are example of post-pedagogy paradigm. Okay, we'll skip this. I'm sure you know about edukasi 4.0, Merdeka Belajar dan sebagainya. But then I would like just to say that being post method teacher is relevant with Merdeka Belajar, I suppose. Well, we'll move on to the next one. Commitment. Teacher commitment is very important, and then boosting resilience. I know the situation is difficult, like this young lady trying to finish the assignment on the street, right? Just to find signal. We can see the students resilient for this. But yet we need to maintain well-being. We need to maintain our own well-being, happiness, feeling comfortable, right? For this. Okay, I will skip this. This video is about a teacher who visit his students in Magelang area, right? Coming to the student house door to door, guiding them to learn. And this is an example of resilience also. We don't probably need to do this. So I'm sure we are somehow more fortunate than these teachers and students. What is necessary for being resilient is that we allow ourselves to learn, to unlearn from what we have learned, if necessary, to break down or what we have learned, to break down what we believe, and to relearn. Alvin Toffler say that this is the form of literacy on the 21st century. It's not just a matter of those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And maintaining well-being, right? I think Bu Aris and Bu Mega will also talk about this one. So separate what you can control, what you cannot control, right? For your own sake. And if you have hobbies, do your hobbies, do some fun. I'm doing gardening on this pandemic situation, and I ride motorcycle once in a while, right? And it's been 5 months that we don't have TV, we don't watch TV, and we are okay with that, right? Okay, to sum up my topic today, and my talk today talks about these three elements: acceptance, preparedness, talk about the preparation stage of conducting a lesson, online lesson. Then we need to cater content and pedagogy for online instruction. And then don't forget, it's very important to cater for teacher and students' resilience and well-being. Thank you, everyone. Time is coming back to Mera.
Yes, thank you very much, Pak Moko. Wow, I think by listening to Pak Moko's topic, me myself as a teacher, I suddenly reflect myself on my teaching, and I believe also audience, dear fellow teachers and practitioners, you also feel the same as what I feel today. That if I may repeat once again, it's about 3 P's. It's particularity, the possibility, and practicality happened in our teaching. Well, we are going to invite the third speaker today, and I believe later after we have listened to Ibu Mega's session, then we are going to have a better idea of how should we reflect our teaching to be ready with the next teaching period. Okay, without keeping you waiting, so I'm inviting Ibu Mega to be the next speaker of today. So Ibu Mega, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Bu Mera. And hello again, everyone. I met you already from a distance, of course, for 3 weeks in a row. And this is the last of our webinar session. And hopefully it can also inspire you as previously has happened. Okay, so let me share my screen. Sorry. My subtitle first, I will show you Humanizing Pedagogy for All. Now we are going to talk about who all is, but I want to greet you like what Bu Aris did. How are you and your students after the first 2 weeks of online learning? But instead of using Mentimeter to invite you to share your responses, I chose to invite you to reflect on this question through two things. The first is watching the video clip, and we are going to reflect on that movie clip. And the second is some simple statements from Humanizing Pedagogy by Freire. Okay, are you ready for the movie clip? Do you like watching movies? And do you also use movies for teaching? I do that. Okay, so have you seen this movie before, or maybe have you seen it on TV? Yeah, The Karate Kid. It's 10-year-old already, but I still watch this very often because I like it. This is one of my favorite movies that I use for teaching, for training. Yeah, you know, maybe Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith, Will Smith's son. Yeah, the Karate Kid told us of an American boy, Jaden Smith. Yeah, whose name there is Dre. He had to move to Beijing, China, because of his mother's job. And there, as an American boy who was very confident and out loud, he had some problem with the Chinese boys, his schoolmates, who were good at Kung Fu. So once he was beaten, and he was helped by Mr. Han, played by Jackie Chan, who tackled the boys with Kung Fu. So Dre was very eager to ask Mr. Han to teach him Kung Fu because he wanted to fight those bullies back. Well, reluctantly, Mr. Han accepted him as his only student, but it turned out that he just allowed him to come to his house and then instructed him to put on his jacket, take off his jacket, hang it up, over and over again. So this clip we are going to watch is when Dre, the American out loud boy, was frustrated and angry because of that. Okay, so that was the movie clip. How did you enjoy it? A little bit? Okay. Well, we are going to start learning, reflecting from this Karate Kid movie. I will share with you what happens at the end of the movie. Both Mr. Han and Xiao at the end of the movie, each becomes a better person through the interaction and working together. What kind of a better person? Mr. Han found himself back after years of hiding himself from the community because of his traumatic experience. Yeah, uh, he was driving a car, and there was an accident that killed his wife and his 10-year-old son inside the car. But he survived. That made him feel very guilty, and so he drew himself. And so meeting Xiao was actually adding to his pain, because more or less his son would be as old as Xiao. But you can see that after working together, having some his meaning. And of course, Xiao Dre at the end, became competent enough. He knows Kung Fu, he can do it, and he participated in a Kung Fu competition. He won over his bullier, of course, with a lot of difficulty, but he won the hearts of many among the audience because of his resilience, because of his not giving up. What about his classmates, his schoolmates, his bulliers? Well, at the end, they became friends, and they realized that Mr. Han is a better teacher who teaches Kung Fu to treat others with respect, not like his or their teacher previously, who taught Kung Fu to make them feel superior than the others. So this is some humanistic values, some humanizing pedagogy from this Karate Kid. Okay, now are you ready with your with my second technique of our reflection in answering about how are you and how are your students? I will quote here only 3 statements about humanizing pedagogy from Freire in Salazar to learn about what, how, and who the agents of the humanizing pedagogy should be. The first is this, the what. Humanization is the process of becoming more fully human. So please pay attention to the colored phrases. Yeah, this is the process of becoming more fully human, not only as cognitive human being, but as social, historical, thinking, communicating, transformative, creative persons who are able to participate in the world and participate with the world. Now you might need my clarification of this very rich and deep phrases and words in this definition. So maybe simply put, humanization is the process of growing to become a better person. That was my phrase when I talked about Chaudhry, Mr. Han, the bulliers, yeah. But Freire used this very interesting phrase, becoming more fully human. And isn't it actually the essence of education? We need to educate ourselves and others to be able to become more fully human, who are not cognitive agents or people or persons, but who are also having some other aspects that make us human beings. Actually, a very important or a very interesting Indonesian phrase is for this humanization process is memanusiakan manusia. Maybe you have heard about it, read about it, but yes, education and many places in Indonesia, especially maybe in some places where education is a luxury, some volunteers, some volunteering teachers send themselves there to bring this humanizing pedagogy to make them more fully human. Those who learn how to read and write and count in I learned from Sokola Institute, for example, in one of their schools in Papua, people there, when they got some modernization coming to their village, they have a lot of problems because they cannot read and write and count. So these volunteering teachers teach them with everything that they have there so that they can read and write and count and participate in their world who becomes modern. Not only to participate in the world, but participate with the world. They can work together now with those people from outside their place for their goodness. So this is the humanizing pedagogy in Freire's definition. The second is how. How can we become more fully human? This is the answer. Men and women must become conscious of their presence in the world as a way to, another colored phrases, individually and collectively re-envisage their social world. Re-envisage, this is also a rich word, but maybe to simplify, re-envisage means to see in a new way their social world. So let me ask you, what does a teacher do? What does a student do? And then everybody will be able to show me a list of things that you do. That is okay, but let's see it in a new way. Like this story of the bricklayer. You know the job of the bricklayer? Every day they lay brick over another brick again and again. That is their job. But when they are asked, what do you do actually? What are you doing? What are you doing now? One very humanized bricklayer can answer with, I am building a school where later the children of this village will be able to learn and become a better person. What is your answer? If you have that question again, what is your job as a student? What is your job as a teacher? Yes, we need to be conscious of our presence in the world. But let's see our individual presence and our collective together, our presence together with other people. Let's see it in another way, in a new perspective. And we are going to be more fully human. Okay. Now, this is the last statement. I promised you only 3 statements from Freire. This is particularly about teachers and students. Teachers who enact humanizing pedagogy, who enact means who perform, who practice humanizing pedagogy, engage in a quest for mutual humanization with their students. You can guess it. And this mutual humanization with their students in itself is a process fostered through problem-posing education, where students are co-investigators. The word co means the same, investigators. In dialogue, this is also a colored phrase, in dialogue with their teachers. Well, let me share with you my experience how this pandemic situation has made me a better person, a more competent person who learned Zoom, Gmeet, Padlet, among others, so that I could participate in this new world and with my world, my students, my colleagues, and I got a very interesting story in one of my subjects, learning psychology. After the mid-test, I suddenly, when I was trying to modify the syllabus because of the sudden pandemic situation in which we have to move or change to a different mode of learning, online learning, I suddenly realized that, hey, in my class, which actually taught the students about learning style and how to use the learning styles for learning, I realized that all the assessments I actually designed did not attend to all the learning styles that I taught. So I modified it and I explained or I announced the modification, the change to my students. And I particularly contacted one student who, from a previous session, shared about her difficulty. Her difficulty was writing because he was introvert and also auditory. So for him, speaking is more natural. So I texted him, please note that there is a change in your task. You can choose between writing your journal or making a vlog for journaling. And he said, Thank you, I will try. But then, when the submission deadline was due and I checked everybody's work, and I found that this student did not use the facility of having flock, but instead he kept his written journal. So I asked again, why didn't you use flock? And he said that, well, ma'am, I tried to challenge myself. I wanted to become a competent learner, like what you said, because the target of learning styles is actually to develop our other less developed learning styles. So I challenged myself to do that. And I was very proud because he was also growing to become more fully human. And his writing was not bad at all. So this is a story in which the mutual humanization process happens in both the teacher and the students within or through dialogues. Okay, so I think I have to be faster now. That I want to encourage you to use maybe a new perspective in looking at your precious presence in this world. Yes, you have a lot of roles. Yeah, I cannot imagine if you play double agent. Double agent means you are both teachers and parents. There must be very complicated, but also try to use different perspectives. We are now in Indonesian education transformation, I believe. And imagine that both you and your students are the agents of change. And if you can also share this with your students, it might encourage them, motivate them too, so that when you give some synchronous teleconference, they don't skip your your video, or they don't mute themselves and then maybe sleep or play a game or do something else. Yeah, so share with your students that their presence now, with all the complexity and maybe also the exciting exciting moments, the excitements are to change the world of Indonesian education. And don't forget to grow together with your students in dialogue. Have a chat with them, learn from them. And last but not least, to be more fully human is also to admit, to recognize that there is a master teacher, the master teacher from whom we learn and from whom we receive supports to make what we do possible. There's a teacher's prayer that becomes always my prayer. If you would like to read it aloud with me right now, hopefully this also strengthens you. A teacher's prayer. God, enable me to teach with wisdom, for I help to shape the mind. Equip me to teach with truth, for I help to shape the conscience. Encourage me to teach with vision, for I help to shape the future. Empower me to teach with love, for I help to shape the world. Good luck, dear teachers and students. How are you? Thank you.
Yes. Wow. Stunning. Speechless. Yes. Okay. I guess now most of us are playing role as Mr. Han in the movie. Now, I have a question for dear Mr. Han out there. So you will not let yourself be covered with your bad self-paradigm, won't you? So I'm inviting everybody to do self-education, and the word of the day is the envisage. That's really the word of the day. Let's have a good paradigm about ourselves, about others, because what you see, teachers, is what you get. Right. We are coming to question and answer session right after this. And I'm collecting questions from Zoom and from our YouTube channel. Thank you very much for the questions. And the questions are collected, and I can see here that the questions are complete, meaning to say the questions are dedicated for all our three speakers today. Now, let us come to the first question by Mr. Kang from Universitas Pelita Harapan. And he is asking a question to Ibu Aris. Right, so Ibu Aris, he is asking about, wait a minute. Yeah, what are the practical ways to promote students' intrinsic motivation to study independently, self-directedly, and autonomously? So, Ibu Aris, so the time is yours. Please answer the question by Mr. Kang.
Thank you,
Yes, you are muted still, Ibu.
Thank you, Bumera. Thank you for the question, Mr. Shang Patrick from UPH. Yeah. So, Bumera, there is one more question. That is about there is a tug of war among students to either focus with online learning or online game. Yeah, this is the first question. So, that's what I'm afraid of. Yeah, as teacher who cannot make the learning material as easy, as enjoyable as the game. So sometimes there is a dilemma. Yeah. So I get difficulty in designing such kind of learning material using this kind of game. But of course, it is easy for the people with teacher with good technology skill. So what is the important thing is that not just don't depend on the technology itself. Remember that teachers should nurture students, meaning that we care, we guide them, we give advice, and we understand their individual characteristics. Yeah, it's also answer the whole question from Mr. Patrick. Yeah. So also about practical ways of promoting motivation to study independently again and again. Yeah, teacher should be in present. So in presence, I mean, so we have to be there. Although we deliver assignment through media, don't depend on the media, but we have to control. Yeah, control. So what the student learn, we check. So the communication should be done intensively with the students at home. So that it's almost similar when we face the students and we touch them. Yeah, touch them individually, if it is possible. And also remember that during with remote learning, don't just give assignments, but still, like what Bu Yuana said in the previous webinar. So the step in teaching should be followed. For example, in the beginning, you have a brainstorming. So ask the students to think about this, yeah. And then students should participate to build the conclusion like this. So that so don't depend on the media and then let them do the assignment and we just keep waiting for the assignment to be submitted or like this. But we have to be there. We have to care. So that later, when we touch them, so they will be aware to learn by themselves. So motivation from the teacher is very important. We have to build the environment so that they will be independent and learning. Yeah, that's my questions. Yeah, and the question from Mr. Patrick perhaps. And what is the second question from Pumera?
Yes. Okay, Ibu Aris, we would like to go to the next question dedicated for Pak Moko first. Ibu Aris? Yes. Okay. So the next question is going to Pak Moko. The question is, shall I read the question first, Pak Moko?
I've got the question.
I see. Okay.
Okay. So thank you, Mr. Kang. Your question is related to how do teachers promote students' positive character building in the midst of student diverse cultural background, right? And it is seeded from Brown theory that language and culture are intertwined. Well, I definitely agree with you that culture and education, in this case language education, are strongly correlated. Even the process of education itself is actually a process of passing on culture, right? Passing on our culture and preparing our students for the future civilization. So education itself basically is a process of culture transmission and culture preparation for the future. And so that's why then we as teachers actually have a very strategic role here. We have a very strategic and noble role for our students, for their future. In this case, to prepare them for their future, for the future culture, at the same time passing on our culture right now and how they can in the future thrive in the future, not just survive but thrive in the future. And related to your question, then as teachers we can choose and we can select and we can then consider various types of text for our students. Text here is not just about written text but also audio text, but also activities, but also then videos, tasks that then facilitate students to learn about culture that could help them relate with their own culture, and also to help them achieve the essence of education, like what I have said, right? Passing on culture and preparing them for the future civilization. So what I propose is that teacher need to combine materials, combine text, because text is never neutral, right? A text is always having ideology, right? So what the teacher can do is that teacher can choose text that open up their mind about the future, text from other country that use it as westernized culture, but then always coming back to the students' own culture, right? Don't forget to bring the student back to their own context, their own challenges, their own situation. So that's why then by doing so, then students can relate between other culture and their own situation. So the balance between the student situation context and other culture, other situation context should be maintained in this case. There should be an effort in part of the teacher selection of material, the teacher activities to maintain between the student's context, student situation, and student culture with Western culture. So that's why in my presentation, I had samples of two texts. The first one is from Penguin Readers, Mr. Bean. Another is from Indonesian legend, Sankuriang, and so on and so forth. I think these are the examples of how to balance between our students' context and other countries' culture. Thank you. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Moko. Right, the last question goes to Ibu Mega. The question was asking about the application of the movie in class, Ibu Mega. The question is asking whether is it possible that the teachers give the separate or integrated session for the dialogue elicitation for the English speaking practice by using the movie in the classroom? Okay, so Ibu Mega.
Yes. Thank you, Lucy from UNESA. The answer is yes. Then the technique will be, well, I leave it up to you. But offline situation, I would ask them to watch the movie once again, mute and mute the movie and exclude the subtitle and try to put them in pairs, and then they try to reproduce the utterances, the sentences from Mr. Han and Xiaotri. And then for checking, we turn on everything, the subtitle, the audio of the movie for them to check. And offline, online, you will need some backup for some apps. But yes, the answer is yes, we can use movies for speaking, for writing, and also for drama, yeah, role playing. Okay. I think that can be my answer. I can answer another question or very no time. Oh, okay.
I think I'm so sorry, Ibu Mega.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. If Bapak Ibu, if you have further questions, you can write down on the Zoom or YouTube again, and we would try to also later the operator can also provide the email address of our three speakers today, so that Bapak and Ibu can also send some more questions to the speakers individually by sending them emails. Yes. Right. Going to the next agenda, right now we are going to do an MOA signing between the Faculty of Education and Humanities, Universitas Kristen Duta Wacana, and MGMP Bahasa Inggris Daerah Istimewa Yogyakarta. Right. And we would like to call the Dean of Faculty of Education and Humanities, Ibu Dr. Anda Megawati, MPD, and also the coordinator of MGMP Bahasa Inggris Daerah Istimewa Yogyakarta, Ibu Arif. Will you please come to the sign-in place prepared? Okay, so this MOA represents the partnership between the Faculty of Education and Humanities, Universitas Kristen Duta Wacana, and MGMP Bahasa Inggris Daerah Istimewa Yogyakarta, and about holding series of webinars to empower high school teachers in particular and educators in general to be hopeful English teachers in the new normal time. And this is the first MOA, and of course we are longing for having many more to come. And these are the MOA and documents. Yes, so photo session for a while. Yes, okay. Thank you very much, Ibu Mega and Ibu Aris. Yes, would you please be seated? Yeah, and to close our webinar series, okay. So to close our webinar series, Bapak and Ibu participants, I'm again inviting the two ladies, Ibu Aris and Ibu Mega, to do closing remarks, just a very short closing remarks, okay? And right, I'm inviting Ibu Aris first to say the closing remarks first. Ibu, time is yours.
Thank you, Mira, in a quick way. So first of all, on behalf of MGMP Bahasa Inggris SMA Daerah Istimewa Yogyakarta, so I'm very grateful to PBI UKDW for collaborating with MGMP by having 4 series of webinar in English on English teaching with the good facility, with guide and also some good information. Okay, and we do hope that PBI UKDW are willing to care for us teacher who really need information and improvement on teaching English using technology, as we know that UKDW is very well known with the innovation of the technology. Okay, thank you very much, Bu Mera.
Yes, thank you, Ibu Aris. All right, the last but not least, Ibu Mega, the Dean of the Faculty of Education and Humanities, to give the remarks. Ibu Mega?
Yeah, I forgot to unmute myself. Thank you, Bu Mera. And also, I thank the MGMP Bahasa Inggris Daerah Istimewa Yogyakarta, who have been very closely working together with us and giving your best for being facilitating speakers in this webinar. And thank you for all the committee who have been very hardworking, practicing our university core value, striving for excellence and service to the world. And for everybody who have been participating in our webinar series, thank you. Thank you for being with us to be able to participate in this new world and participating with this new world. Just look forward to our upcoming webinars. We are going to be there again together with you and with everybody else who are called to be educators of the present. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Mega. Yes, dear participants, I'm reminding you to fill the link for the evaluation, and also we are providing the link for the materials for today. Here on the screen, you can scan the QR code provided, and remember that this link is available only after 1 p.m. today. All right, We are coming to the end of our webinar series. Bapak Ibu, thank you for all speakers from series 1 up to series number 4 today, and also the operators, the organizers, and last but not least, the participants, dear Bapak Ibu, from all over Indonesia, and also our dear fellow teachers, practitioners, and also our students from English Language Education Department. Right, just a little quotation from Carl Rogers. He says that the only person who is educated is the one who has learned how to learn and change. So be inspired and full of hope in this hard situation. Stay healthy, everyone. Good night. Oh, yes, photo session. We forgot to do that. The most important part of all. Right, photo session. Okay, so Bapak Ibu, please activate your camera so that you appear on the screen. And if some of you are asking about the presents, can be the, the document for your school maybe, then you can use this as one of the supporting documents. Okay, right, so 3, 2, 1, cheese. Okay, belum semua. Okay, another sheet. Okay, another cheese. Okay, is that enough, Mas Tenta? Oh, belum nyala semua. Okay, so Bapak Ibu, yes, camera on, please. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, okay. All right. So, thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you again in our next webinars. Please be updated yourself in our Instagram account at PBI UKDW, as well as in our YouTube channel and also in our website in ukdw.ac.id. Thank you very much.